ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So we are actually into the answers that the guru is giving to the student. Remember the verses? Verse number 49 gave the question. The 7 questions actually, which is considered as one question. Prashnoyam kriyate maya. Right? What are the 7 questions? Ko nama bandha, kathamesha agatah, katham pratisthasya, katham vimokshah, ko savanatma, paramah ka atma, tayor vivekah katham etaducchatam. And the teacher, the guru, answered 4th question first. Katham vimoksha. Why? Because that is the most important question. Right? So, the guru said, mokshasya hetu prathamo nigadyate. Last 2 sessions we have seen that he is giving the first step. What is the first step? Vairagyam atyantam anitya vastushu. Atyantam vairagyam, extreme dispassion, detachment. Towards what? Anitya vastushu, towards the impermanent objects. So obviously Viveka is included, which tells us what is permanent and what are the impermanent objects. Right? So Viveka Vairagya is the first step. That's what Shankaracharya says. Then what? Tatashamascha, apit damah titiksha, nyasah prasakta akhila karmanam brisham. And then he enumerates 4 of the 6 shat sampat, 4 of the 6 inner wealths, isn't it? So, Shama, Dama, Titiksha and Uparama. Nyasa here refers to Uparama. So, by Upalakshana, we have to understand Shraddha, Samadhana and also Mumukshutva. Right? So, basically Shankaracharya is saying that Sadhana Chatushtaya is the first step. Gain Sadhana Chatushtaya. Now, in the explanation last time we also saw that Sadhana Chatushtaya requires a certain amount of Chitta Shuddhi, purity of mind, and Chitta Ekagrata, focus, concentration, single pointedness of the mind. And those 2 are gained by Karma Yoga and Upasana respectively. Remember, Karmana Chitta Shuddhi, Chittasya Shuddhaye Karma Natu Vastu Upalabdhaye. Same, Vivek Chudamani only we saw. Right? So, through Karma Yoga, gain Chitta Shuddhi. Through Upasana, gain Chitta Ekagrata. and then gain sadhana chatushtaya. And then what? Then you come to antaranga sadhana. So far whatever we have seen is bahiranga sadhana. Karma yoga, then gaining chitta shuddhi, then upasana, gaining chitta ekagrata, then sadhana chatushtaya, prapti. All these are bahiranga sadhana, the outer limb of the means of liberation. Then what is antaranga sadhana, inner limb? The inner limb is threefold or sometimes fourfold. What is that? Shravana, manana, nididhyasana. Right? Tatah shrutihi, tat mananam, satatva dhyanam. Right? These are the three steps given. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also beautifully explains this, where the Yajnavalkya Rishi, the Guru there, says, Atmavare drashtavya. Oh my dear wife, he is talking to his wife. Wife is the student there in Brihadaranyaka, Maitreyi. And he says, Atmavare, are, oh my dear, Atma, vai, indeed, drashtavya. Should be seen, should be experienced directly. How? Shrotavyo, mantavyo, nididhyasitavya. Should do shravana of what is the nature of this Atman. What is the oneness between me and Brahman. Shravana you should do. Then manana, reflection, followed by nididhyasana. This also we saw last time elaborately. Shravana has got so many aspects associated with it. That it should be done with Shraddha. Guru Mukhat. You should do Shravana from the teacher's mouth. So the teacher is explaining the scriptures. And is it sufficient that I just hear? No, you have to listen. What do you mean by listening? Listening means you are very attentive. And plus, tatparya avadharanam. You should come to the central theme, central purport of the Upanishads. If you come to the central teaching, then you can say that the Shravana is over. If you listen so many things and don't understand what is the main point, what is the crux of the teaching, then Shravana has not happened correctly. Right? So, Shravana includes Tatparya Avadharana. You should come to Tatparya. What is the essential teaching? What is the central theme? That when happens, then the Shravana is over. What does it do? It removes Abhavana. I did not know who I am. After Shravana, I come to know who I am. But though the Upanishads are telling, you are that Brahman, Tat-tvamasi. Isn't it? Chandogya Upanishad says, Tat-tvamasi. Kaivalya Upanishad will explain the same thing differently. Tat-tvameva tat. You are that. Indeed, you are that. That you are that. I understood, but I have doubts. What kind of doubts? How can I be that? No, scriptures are telling, Upanishads are telling, my Guru is telling, so I must be that, but how? Why? Because I am such a limited person, limited power, limited understanding, limited knowledge, limited life. Whereas that Ishvara, that Brahman is how? Is unlimited power, unlimited knowledge, unlimited. How can I be that? Now resolving these doubts through reflection. That is the step of manana, reflection. But that manana should be done on what? Tat mananam. What you have done Shravana and what is the central theme that you have come to, on that you should reflect. So that all the doubts are clarified. Vichara. Ato vichara kartavya. Earlier also Bhagavan Shankaracharya had said, this vichara is the step of manana. Very important step. Why? Because then alone that knowledge becomes yours. When you are listening, it is the teacher's knowledge. He has reflected on it. He has understood it. He is explaining it. When you reflect, that knowledge becomes yours. So, manana is the next step. And what does it remove? If Shravana removes abhavana, manana removes asambhavana. Abhavana, ignorance. I didn't know. That is removed by Shravana. Asambhavana, impossibility. I understood. I am that. But I think it is impossible for me to be that. How can I be that? That impossibility is removed. Asambhavana is removed by Sambhavana also means doubt. Isn't it? Sambhavana means confusion, doubt. Clarity is not there. That is removed in Manana. So Manana tells me, Manana, what does it do? I actually reflect on, churn on what I have heard. So that the knowledge that I have gained as information in Shravana becomes understanding in Manana. Information becomes understanding. Is it done? No. Why? One more step is required. For what? For that understanding to become experience. Last time, if you remember, we had seen a story. Suddenly one person started to think, I am a rat. Remember? Understood, heard, reflected, analyzed, logically came to conclusion, but no feeling. Unless you feel, you will not be able to experience. So, in Shravana, I understood, I got the information that I am Brahman. In Manana, I made that information into my own understanding, saying that yes, I am that. Now what? Now I have to experience it. So for that, when we do Shravana through the ears, Manana in our brain, we are churning. Now we should allow that knowledge, that understanding to settle in our heart, so that we feel that knowledge. That is the step of Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana. The step of contemplation or meditation. This Nididhyasana only will become later on Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So sometimes Nirvikalpa Samadhi will be considered to be separate step. Sometimes it is included in Nididhyasana. That's okay. Why? Because Nididhyasana is where you are putting efforts to maintain a single flow of thought. Sajatiya vritti pravaha. Pravaha means flow. Vritti means thought. Sajatiya means of equal type, of same type. Means what? Continuously you are maintaining the thought, I am Brahman. I am Brahman. Who am I? I am Brahman. What kind of Brahman? Nitya, Nirvikalpa, Nirvikara, Nirakara, Nitya Mukta, Nishchala. So these are different words indicating that Brahman, but they are all Sajatiya. They are different thoughts, but they are of equal type. And you maintain this continuously. Continuously, Chiram, Nitya Nirantaram. Chiram, for a long time. Nitya Nirantaram, continuously and regularly. This Nididhyasana is to be practiced continuously, regularly for a long time. In Yoga Shastra, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, he will define it as Abhyasa. Abhyasa means, repetition. Or Abhyasa means practice. To practice it, and how that Abhyasa should be, it says, Satu Dirghakala, Nairantarya, Satkara, Asevita, Dridhabhumihi. Abhyasa. Satu, that Abhyasa, that practice, how it should be? Dirghakala, for a long time. Not like, today I heard in Vivek Chudamani class that I have to do Nididhyasana. I went in evening into the room for meditation. I came out, realized. It's not going to happen like that. It may happen for an exceptional person, but for most of us, it's not going to happen like that. It takes long practice. Dirghakala. And how that should be? Nairantarya. There should be a regularity, continuity to it. Not like today, January 1st week, I started Nididhyasana. Then what? Then after 1 week, all my New Year resolution, enthusiasm, inspiration, everything gone. Then when are you doing it again? Next January. That way it won't work. That way it won't work. When you start something continuously, that continuity has got lot of importance. You must have seen, in mountains, etc., some very small stream of water, but it continuously falls on the same rock, it breaks huge boulders also. It is not that it has got a lot of force. It is not that, but it is continuously falling at the same spot. In childhood, you remember we used to do this experiment. Somebody in the school, your friend or somebody who has got specs, you will take that specs and keep near the sunlight. Why? Because you want to use that convex lens to, put all the rays of sun on one spot. Sometimes you will keep some kind of cotton or paper and you will try to burn. And if you are too mischievous, you will do it on your friend's hand without him knowing. He is listening to the class and you are focusing your specs. So that why? Do you mean to say that the sun rays have power to burn? Not actually, but when they are concentrated at one point. And not that they concentrate at one point and immediately. No, you have to keep it like that. Then at some point of time, it burns. Similarly, right now our thoughts are going all directions. First we have to make them single pointed. And then what? Then hold that for a long time. Then what will happen? Then that knowledge that I have gained will become my experience. Direct experience. Aparoksha anubhuti. And what will it do? It will remove my contrary notion. Viparita bhavana. So Shravana removes abhavana. Manana removes asambhavana. Nidhyasana removes Viparita bhavana. Viparita bhavana means what? See, though I have understood in Shravana and Manana that I am Brahman, what is my present understanding of myself? That I am this individual Jiva. This is a contrary notion to my knowledge. That contrary notion is removed through Nididhyasana, through the practice of contemplation and meditation. So this Nididhyasana, when done for a long time with efforts, it becomes effortless. That thought that you are maintaining for a long time also goes away. It becomes thoughtless. That stage is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Samadhi, meditation. Nirvikalpa, without a thought. That thought which you are maintaining, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, that thought also has become so subtle that it has gone. It has merged into the object of meditation. That is what is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So, or otherwise also called as Samadhi. Sometimes you will hear these terms. Nididhyasana will sometimes be called as Savikalpa Samadhi. Sometimes it will be called as Nididhyasana. Sometimes Samadhi will be called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Sometimes they will say 4 stages. Sometimes they will say 3 stages. Please understand that it is one and the same. You can consider as sub-stages of Nididhyasana. Sometimes even you will hear that there is a difference between Nididhyasana, Savikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. They will say that Nididhyasana is with thought, with effort. Savikalpa Samadhi is without effort but with thought. And Nirvikalpa Samadhi is effortless without thought. So, all are okay. Okay? So please don't get confused that no, we learnt like this only and these are flexible things. Why? Because we are talking about such a higher stage that where these distinctions will not matter. When we reach that stage, this kind of distinction will not even matter. Right? But that is what happens. Shravana removes abhavana, Manana removes asambhavana, Nididhyasana removes Viparita bhavana. So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is called as Antaranga Sadhana. What does it create? It creates that bodha, that direct experience of me being Brahman. That is called as Sakshat Sadhana. Direct means. This is what, this is called as Atmajnana. Brahma Vidya. These terms when they use, sometimes they think that Brahma Vidya is the knowledge that is given in the scriptures. True. But what kind of knowledge they are talking about? The knowledge that is born as experience. That removes ignorance. And then we realize. So, Bahiranga sadhana, Antaranga sadhana, Sakshat sadhana, moksha. Katham vimoksha, how do I get liberated? Through this process. Bahiranga sadhana, Antaranga sadhana, Sakshat sadhana, moksha. Right? Getting it? We also saw last time. What is that? One of the siddhantas of Vedanta is Shravana matrena jnanam bhavati. Knowledge happens at the stage of Shravana itself. If in case it doesn't happen, then there must be some obstacles. What are the obstacles? Maybe doubts, maybe contrary notion, maybe impurity of mind. All that are removed by bhakti sadhanas, manana, nididhyasana, and then what? Then knowledge happens. By what? By Shravana only. So, knowledge happens by Shravana only. We will see in Upanishads, etc., we have students who have realized just by listening to the teacher at that moment itself. We have Nachiketas in Kathopanishad who realized the moment Yamaraja told, Nachiketa realized. Ashwalayana Rishi in Kaivalya Upanishad realized immediately. Whereas in Kenopanishad, unknown student is there, name is not known, but the student was sent for Manana and Nididhyasana. He realized, he went through the process of Manana and Nididhyasana, realized and then returned. Shankaracharya in his commentary explains this. So, actually knowledge happens in Shravana only, but that knowledge is opposed, obstructed by our doubts, our contrary notions, our impurities, our agitations. When all those are removed, the knowledge becomes experience and we realize. Right? So, that is the answer to the question, Katham vimoksha. And then now, Bhagavan Shri Adi Shankaracharya says, now among all these steps that we have seen, Karma Yoga, then Chitta Shuddhi, then Upasana, then Chitta Ekagrata, then Samadhi, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, then Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, Atmadhyana, Moksha. Among all these, the most important steps for us now are what? Shravana and Manana. We will keep improving our Sadhana Chatushtaya, no doubt. That we can do ourselves. But Shravana Manana has to be done, when given by the Guru. Guru Mukha Shravanam, no? So, he takes up those two now. Last time we have seen the verse number 71. He says, Yat bodhavyam tava idanim atma anatma vivechanam taduchyate maya samyak. What should be known by you? What is that? Atma anatma vivechanam. How to distinguish between the self and the not self. Isn't your essential question, who am I? Then you must distinguish between who you are and who you are not. Tat maya uchyate. That is being now answered by me. Samyak shrutva. Listening to it well. Atmani avadharaya. Hold it in your mind. So, do Shravana and Manana. Don't forget the name of the text is Viveka Chudamani. Crest jewel of Viveka. So, Viveka is the main topic here. Viveka means distinguishing. Distinguishing between what? Who I am and who I am not. Right? So to say, the main topic is now beginning. And of course, this becomes also the answers to next three questions. Kaha asau anatma, paramah ka atma, tayor vivekah katham. What is not self? What is the supreme self? How to distinguish between the two. So, first he takes what is the not self. Fifth question, Kaha asau anatma is now taken verses 72 to 123. Verses 72 to 123. About 50 verses. Right? So, what is not self? What do you mean by this anatma? Na atma, anatma. Atma means me, self. Na atma. What is not me? Okay. If I ask you a question, what is not you? What will you answer? Swamiji. So many things are there, that is not me. See, handkerchief, not me. iPad, not me. Watch, not me. Table, not me. Book, not me. Notebook, specs. Everything that I see is not me. Careful, what are you saying? You just said everything that I see is not me. You also see your body. You also see your thoughts. You also understand whether your sense organs are working correctly or not. You are seeing sense organs. Then it means that is also not me. It is a common sense that we understand that the objects are not me. So Shankaracharya is not going to tell us that. See, Shastra will tell you what you don't know and what you should know, isn't it? What you already know, why will Shastra spend time in telling that? We already know that we are not our house. We already know we are not the car that I am driving. The confusion comes where? The confusion comes where the body, the sense organs, the mind, these things are involved. Why? Because I think I am that. Don't you think you are that? Who are you? I am Brahmachari Vivek Chaitanya. Okay. What is this Brahmachari Vivek Chaitanya? A name given. Name given to what? To the body. I am a man. Body. I am young. Body. I am very clever. Intellect. I am very emotional. Mind. Every single thing that you tell about yourself, you are actually telling about something that you are not. Think about it. Our introduction of ourselves at this moment is actually related to something that I am not. So, the Shastra takes special efforts to make us understand that you are not this. What you think you are not that. Shastra is not going to tell us you are not the glass of water, that we know. Shastra is going to tell us you are not the hand which is picking up the glass of water. So, not self, anatma, is going to be in three, what we can say as types. Anatma will have three things. Three types of bodies. Sthula Sharira, gross body. Sukshma Sharira, subtle body. And Karana Sharira, causal body. Not casual body, causal body. That which causes. Sometimes, in reading, etc., we read casual body, not casual, causal body. Karana Sharira. So, these three are actually anatma. So, Shankaracharya will first explain what are these three. Then he will explain how I am not these three. And then he will explain how to give up identification with these three. Identification, I consider that is me. Oneness, I feel. How to give it up. So, in order, he takes up Sthula Sharira, gross body first. So, we will have verses 72 to 74. He will explain what is this gross body. 3 verses. Then we will have from verses 75 to 91. He will do condemnation of different things. Through this gross body, I am attached to the world of objects. So, he will say how this attachment to the world of objects is bad. Verses 75 to 82, he will do condemnation of this Vishaya Asakti, attachment to the world of objects, sense pleasures. Then 83 to 86, he will do condemnation of Deha Sakti, attachment to the body, where I consider, this is very precious thing and I am attached to my body. I am very beautiful. 10 times at least I have to look in the mirror. Deha Sakti. And in 87 to 91, he will do condemnation of gross body itself, not just our attachment to it. So from 72 to 91 is the topic of Sthula Sharira, gross body. First he will explain what it is, and then he will help us in disassociating, de-identifying with this. Then he will take up Sukshma Sharira, subtle body, verses 92 to 107. 92 to 107. He will take up Sukshma Sharira, subtle body, the topic of subtle body, and of course, how not to identify with it. And finally, he will take up 108 to 123, the topic of Karana Sharira, causal body. Right? So, this is the section that we are entering. We are into verse number 72. Shankaracharya is explaining us what is the gross body. 72. Please repeat. Majjasthimeda palarakta charma त्वगाभयैर्धातुभिरेभिरन्वितम् पादोरुवक्षो भुजपृष्ठमस्तकैः अङ्गैरुपाङ्गैरुपयुक्तमेतत् मज्जास्थिमेदः फलरक्तचर्म त्वगावयैर्धातुभिरेभिरन्वितं पादोरुवक्षो भुजपृष्ठमस्तकैः अङ्गैरुपाङ्गैरुपयुक्तमेतत्. He says etat. Etat, this. This means this, what you are seeing. This is what we call as body. This I am going to speak about. What is this? See the last word of the first line. Anvitam. Can you see that Anvitam? Now here lots of sandhis are there, okay? Let me just do the sandhi first. Majja, asthi, medah, pala, rakta, charma, tvak, avhayaihi. This is one word. This is one compound word. Majjasthimedaf palarakta charma tvagavhayaihi. One word. Then dhatubhihi ebhihi anvitam. Then pada uru vakshah bhuja prishtha mastakaihi. Again one word. Padoru vaksho bhuja prishtha mastakaihi. Angaihi upangaihi upayuktam etat. Etat, this gross body, anvitam. First we will see the meaning of the first line. Anvitam. Anvitam means is endowed with. Is endowed with what? Ebhihi dhatubhihi. By, this third case, therefore by. Ebhihi, by these. Ebhi is a pronoun. By these. By these what? Dhatubhihi, by these dhatus. Dhatu here means what? The basic ingredients, layers, basic components. That's what we call as dhatu. In grammar also dhatu means the root, basic component. So what are the basic components the body, the gross body is endowed with? So 7 such components are there. Sometimes they are called as sapta dhatu. Might have heard this word, sapta dhatu. What are they? He says majja. This is actually cross section of the gross body. You understand cross section of the gross body? You are lucky. I never understood what is cross section of the gross body because biology was difficult for me. But then when I went to engineering, then cross section I understood. Then I understood, oh, that's what they were talking in biology. So you suppose your hand is cut. Suppose not actually, suppose it is cut. Then what you see from inner component to outer component, one by one, that is called as cross section. So from starting from inside, the most inside is what? Majja. Majja means bone marrow. The fluid is there, no? Bone marrow. Asthi, next one. After that component, next one is asthi. Asthi means bone. Bone. Asthi. Medah. Medah means fat. Fat. Pala. Pala means flesh. Flesh. Rakta. Rakta, everybody knows. Blood. Rakta is blood. Charma. Charma is inner skin. Inner skin. What they call as dermis. Dermis and epidermis will be there. No? The dermis, the inner skin. Charma. And then tvaka. Tvaka is epidermis, the outer skin. So what we touch actually is tvak, the outer skin. Inside that there is the inner skin, charma. Inside that blood, rakta. Inside that flesh, pala. Inside that fat, meda. Inside that bone, asthi. Inside that bone marrow, majja. Okay. Abhi dhatubhi, by these components, etat what is that? Anvitam. Etat, this anvitam is endowed with. Excuse me? Yes. Why is Shankaracharya explaining biology? For us to understand that I am none of these. Later on it will come also. We have attraction towards somebody else. What exactly are we attracted towards? Majja, asthi, meda, pala, rakta, charma, tvak. What? Which one you want? Each and everything of this, in Gurudev's words if we have to say, is a filthy item wrapped in a beautiful packaging. He used to say God is great marketing person. Why? All the filthy items are put but wrapped in such a beautiful body that nobody understands what the filth we are carrying. And isn't it true? I really salute those doctors and surgeons, etc. You know, when they cut, what all things are there inside? My God, can't even see. But remember, we are so attached to it. We don't want to give it up. So much attached. What is this? Nothing but saptadhatu. The body is made up of these 7 ingredients, the 7 components, the saptadhatus. And then this body has got different parts. This cross section is okay. Cross section I understood. Now it is made up of different parts. That is what is explained in the next line. He says, Etat upayuktam. This is having. Upayuktam, having. Having what? Angaihi. Different limbs. Upangaihi. Different sublimbs. So hand is a limb. But within hand there is a palm. Within palm there are fingers. Within fingers there are nails also. So anga and upanga, the parts and subparts, limbs and sublimbs are also there. What are they? Some Shankaracharya is mentioning for you to understand what are they. He is not going to count and tell everything. No. Saptadhatu, because there was only 7 things he explained. Now parts are so many. So he is just explaining few. He is saying pada. Pada means feet. Uru. Uru means thighs. Vakshas. Vakshaha means chest. Bhuja. Bhuja means arms. Prishtha. Back. Mastaka. Head. Head. Mastaka. So, padoru vaksho bhuja prishtha mastakaihi angaihi upangaihi etat upayuktam. So, this body that we see is made up of 7 dhatus and has got these many parts. Please understand that this is a very different kind of explanation of gross body. Generally in Vedanta, we won't see things like this. I am sure many of you have studied Tattvabodha, Atmabodha, etc. is nothing like this. Tattvabodha will say, what is Sthula Shariram Kim? Panchikrita Pancha Mahabhute Kritam Sat Karmajanyam Sukha Dukkhadi Bhogayatanam Shariram Jayate Asti Vartate Viparinamate Apakshiyate Vinashyati Shadvikaravat Etat Sthula Shariram, made up of 5 elements, fashioned by your prarabdha karma. It is the house of experience for all your enjoyments and sufferings. Then what? It has got 6 modifications. It is born, then it stays, then it grows, then it matures, then it decays, then it dies. This is what is gross body. Whereas here Shankaracharya ji is explaining in a different way. Why? Because the purpose is different. Tattvabodha is a book of definitions. He has to just tell what is gross body. Here the purpose is for us to get a feeling that I am not this and therefore I should not identify with it. That is why he is explaining in a different way. He is telling what it has. All the filthy things only are there inside. See, the skin is the only thing which is protecting us. You open the skin and everything inside starts to smell. I don't know how we carry this thing around. But this is what it is. He continues. Let us see. Verse number 73. Aham mameti prathitam shariram.
Aham mameti prathitam shariram.
Mohaspadam sthulamitiryate budhaihi.
Mohaspadam sthulamitiryate budhaihi.
Nabho nabhaswaddahanambu bhumayah.
Nabho nabhaswaddahanambu bhumayah.
Sukshmani bhutani bhavanti tani.
Sukshmani bhutani bhavanti tani.
Aham mameti prathitam shariram. Mohaspadam sthulamitiryate budhaihi. Nabho nabhaswaddahanambu bhumayah. Sukshmani bhutani bhavanti tani. He says, Aham mama iti prathitam shariram. Now he is bringing the word sharira. So far he has not used the word sharira. Shariram. Shariram means body. Shiryamanatvat shariram. In Sanskrit, if a name is given to an object, there has to be a reason why that name is given to that object. In English, such rule is not there. Example, why sky is called as sky? We don't know. But in Sanskrit, we have a reason. Why Akasha is called as Akasha? Because it gives Avakasha. Avakasha Pradatra Akasha. Why is eyes are called as Nayana in Sanskrit? Because they lead. Comes from root Ninaya. Lead. Similarly, why this body is called as Sharira? Sharira Shiryamanatvat. That which decays. We may say that the body is growing, but actually it is decaying. Right from birth it is decaying. It may look like it goes through different phases, but it is going towards decay only. Shiryamanatvat shariram. So this sharira is very unique thing. Why? Because aham mama iti prathitam. Because with this body, I have both experiences. What both experiences? I feel I am this body and I also feel this is my body. So, aham, I, and mama, my. See, generally, these two experiences cannot be in the same object. What is this? This is a handkerchief. This is my handkerchief. The moment I say this is mine, it is very clear that it is different from me. There is no confusion. Think about it. My house, different from me. My wife, different from me. My car, different from me. But this body is something which I say it is my, but I also say it is I. This is my hand. We say, my head is paining, my stomach is paining. But at the same time, I also have a feeling of I in this body. Hey, you didn't go for that program. I went. Who went? The gross body went. My gross body went, but I feel I went. What happened to you? I am not well. Who is not well? The gross body is not well. My head is paining, but what do you say? I am not well. See, so aham mama iti pratitam. This is a very unique thing which has both experiences, I also and my also, in the same object. Why are there two different kinds of experiences in the same thing? Mohaspadam. Because of it is a seat of delusion. Aspadam, seat. Moha, delusion. Why? All the delusion begins from here. Mohaspadam. Sthulam iti budhaihi iryate. Iryate, it is spoken of, it is called. Budhaihi, by the wise people, this body that we see is called as sthulam. Sthula, gross. What do you mean by gross? Not in the different way, it is very gross, you are gross. Nowadays in English, etc., they use this term. Gross means you are very yuck. This gross. True, only this gross body is really like that, but that is not what we mean. Sthula means what? That which can be perceived by senses. That is called as sthula. It's a technical term. What do you mean by gross body, gross object? Anything that can be perceived by sense organs. Any of the sense organs. Eyes, nose, tongue, skin, ears, any of these. If it can be perceived, it is gross. So this body that we can perceive is called as gross body, sthula sharira, by the wise people. And what is this? This gross body is mohaspadam, seat of delusion. What kind of delusion? That you also have feeling of my and you also have feeling of I in the same body. Right? Okay. So far what all things we have seen? That the gross body is made up of saptadhatus. It has got various parts. It is seat of delusion because of which I have experiences of I and my both in the same body. And it is called gross. Why? Because it can be perceived by sense organs. I can see my hand, smell it, touch it, hear, the beats, the heartbeats, etc. I can experience this gross body through the sense organs. Therefore, it is called as sthula. Now, Shankaracharya begins explaining from what is this gross body made. What is the material with which it is made? See, saptadhatu is saptadhatu, okay, basic. But what are the saptadhatus made up of? What are ingredients, if I have to say? So that is what he says now. What are those ingredients? Bhutani. Bhutani, elements. Pancha Mahabhutas are the elements from which the body is made. How? He explains. Nabho. Nabho is nabhas. Nabhas means space. Nabhaswat. Please understand the sandhi there. Nabho. Nabhaswat. Nabhaswat means wind or air. Nabhas means space. Nabhas becomes nabho. Sakara changes to repha changes to visarga changes to ukara, it becomes nabho because of different sandhi rules. So nabho means nabhas means space. Nabhaswat means air. Then dahana means fire. Ambu means water. And bhumi means earth. So space, air, fire, water, earth. Because 5, therefore plural is used. Bhumayah. Bhumihi, bhumi, bhumayah. So because it is a compound word, therefore plural is used. These 5 sukshmani bhutani. These are bhutani, these are elements, but sukshmani, subtle. In their subtle form, these 5 elements are called as tanmatras. Tanmatra. Tanmatra means tat matram. That alone is there. The 5 elements in their pure form, which are not mixed with anything else. In their subtle form, tani, from them, bhutani bhavanti. From these subtle 5 elements, gross 5 elements are born. Careful. What are the 5 elements? Space, air, fire, water, earth. These 5 elements in their subtle form are pure. Are pure means what? They are not mixed with anything else. So, subtle space is space alone, tanmatra. Subtle air is air alone. Subtle fire is fire alone. Subtle water is water alone. Subtle earth is earth alone. And remember, they are subtle. Subtle means not perceived by the senses. Right? Now, from these 5 subtle elements, 5 gross elements come. They are formed. From 5 subtle elements, 5 gross elements are born, are formed. And those 5 gross elements, by different permutation and combination, become the gross body and the entire gross world that we see. So, tanmatras, 5 subtle elements, become panchabhutas, the 5 gross elements. And from those 5 gross elements, the gross body and the gross world is made up of. Now, how 5 subtle elements become 5 gross elements? That process is called as Panchikarana. Well known in Vedanta. Many of you already know it. Panchikarana. That Panchikarana process, Shankaracharya is now explaining in the next verse. So, the 5 great elements in their subtle form, tanmatras, go through the process called Panchikarana, by which they become gross. They become gross means they can be now perceived by senses, and they, through different permutation and combination, become the gross body and the gross world. So, everything that we see, careful, every single thing that we see, hear, touch, smell and taste, every single thing is made up of 5 gross elements. And those 5 gross elements are formed from 5 subtle elements. How? That is explained now in the next verse. Let us read verse number 74. परस्परांशैर्मिलितानि भूत्वा
परस्परांशैर्मिलितानि भूत्वा
स्थूलानि च स्थूलशरीरहेतवः
स्थूलानि च स्थूलशरीरहेतवः
मात्रास्तदीया विषया भवन्ति
मात्रास्तदीया विषया भवन्ति
शब्दादयः पञ्चसुखाय भोक्तुः
शब्दादयः पञ्चसुखाय भोक्तुः
परस्परांशैर्मिलितानि भूत्वा स्थूलानि च स्थूलशरीरहेतवः मात्रास्तदीया विषया भवन्ति शब्दादयः पञ्चसुखाय भोक्तुः. Let us first understand the meaning of every word and then we will see what Shankaracharya is saying. Paraspara amshaihi. Paraspara means each other's. Paraspara, each other's. Amshaihi, part. By each other's parts, militani bhutva, mixing them together, becoming one with each other's parts, sthulani bhavanti. You have to add the verb there. The elements become gross. Remember, in their subtle form, they are called as tanmatras. Tanmatras means what? Pure. Tat matram, they alone are there, not mixed with anything else. Now, when they are mixed with different parts of other elements, they become gross. Sthulani. Cha, and sthula sharira hetavaha. Then these gross elements become the cause for the gross body. Sthula sharira hetavaha, they are the cause for the gross body. So, combining with each other's parts, the subtle elements become gross elements, and then they become cause for the gross body. That's what he is saying in first line. Right? So, how do they do that? So, in Tattvabodha, etc., you have detailed description of Panchikarana. I will just tell you in short. Okay. So, imagine that there are these 5 elements are there. Okay. Space alone. Imagine it like a circle. You know, there is a space, then there is air, then there is fire, water, earth. Everything is, each element is itself. Now, you divide each element into 2 halves. 50%, 50%. Now, keep 1 half of each element intact, unchanged. The second half, you break it into 4 equal parts. So, 1 half of the element is constant, the other half further divided into 4 equal parts. So, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, together 50%, 1 half is 50%. Okay, now? Up to here, okay. Now, keeping the 1 half of it with itself, the remaining 4, it gives to each of the other 4. So, space keeps 50% of space with itself, 1 part of space goes to the air, second part goes to the fire, third part goes to the water, fourth part goes to the earth. 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5 given, 50% is intact. Now, similarly, air also does this, fire also does this, water also does this, and earth also does this. So, each element will have 50% of itself and 12.5% of all the other 4. I think in your book, etc., Vivek Chudamani book, the diagram will be there explaining this, right? So, if you have not understood, go through the diagram. So, the space Tanmatra was 100% space, pure, whereas space as Bhuta, as gross element is 50% space and 12.5% of air, 12.5% of fire, 12.5% of water, 12.5% of earth, because of which it becomes gross. It can be now perceived through the senses. Through the senses, any of the senses. Okay. But still, because 50% of itself, it is still called as space. Though it has got aspects, parts of all the 4 elements, other 4 elements also, but because majority is space, that element is called as space. Space element, gross element, right? So, through this process, paraspara amshaihi militani, by combining it with all the other 5 elements, other 4 elements, sorry, the gross 5 elements are born, right? 5 subtle elements thus have become 5 gross elements. This process is called as Panchikarana. Panchikarana literally means, Karana means becoming, Panchi means 5, becoming 5. Becoming 5 means 5 becoming 5. Gurudev will translate this Panchikarana as pentamerous self-division and mutual combination. The process of pentamerous self-division and mutual combination. So, pentamerous, 5 ways, self-division, it is dividing itself, and then mutual combination, it is taking each other's things, right. So, that is how from the subtle elements, the gross elements are formed, and from those gross elements, the gross body comes to be. Up to here. Then what is he saying in the second line? He says, matraha tadiyaha. Tadiyaha matraha. Those tanmatras, subtle. You remember subtle tanmatra? Te vishayaha bhavanti. They become the sense objects. Not the gross objects, but the subtle aspect of those objects. What are they? Shabdadayah. Shabda adayah. Shabda etc. Shabda etc. means Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Shabda, sound. Sparsha, touch. Rupa, form and color. Rasa, taste. Gandha, smell. From the tanmatras, subtle elements, these vishayas are formed. Now, these vishayas only express through the gross objects. So, when I see something, I am seeing the physical form of the subtle object. When I smell, I am smelling the physical smell of the subtle object. Like that. So, Shabdadayah Pancha, these 5 sense objects are formed from tanmatras. Why? Why are they formed? Bhoktuhu Sukhaya. Last 2 words you see. Sukhaya, for the pleasure. For the pleasure of Bhoktu. Bhoktuhu means Bhokta, the enjoyer. Bhoktu is 6th case. For the pleasure of the enjoyer. For me to enjoy, these 5 elements are becoming 5 sense objects. So, actually what is my life? My life is 5 gross elements becoming my gross body, enjoying the sense objects which are made up of 5 subtle elements. Actually speaking, what is happening? The elements are interacting with each other. When I see a particular object, who is seeing? My eyes, which are made up of 5 elements. What am I seeing is also made up of 5 elements. The gross as well as subtle aspect. Everything is made up of 5 elements. So, the 5 elements are interacting with each other. This is our everyday. But what happens? In between, suddenly a thought comes that I am this, I am enjoying that. See, that experience itself is very wrong. I am this is itself, grammatically also it is wrong. I is first person, this is third person. How can I be this? How can I be this? This is this, no, this is not me. This is third person, this is not me, this is something other than me. But somehow we get this because of ignorance, because of delusion. I feel that I am the body, and then what? Then I start to enjoy the world, experience the world, enjoy the world, become attached to the world. Then I want more and more pleasure from the same world. And that is how the downfall starts. That is what Shankaracharya explains in the next verse. We will see in the next session. He says how these Vishayas, which are made up of 5 elements, which are enjoyed by my sense organs and body, which is also made up of 5 elements, how I get attached to these objects? How suddenly I start to feel that I cannot live without my mobile phone? my car. How can I live without my car, my house, my people? From where is this I and my coming? From where is this attachment coming? That is the next topic that Shankaracharya says. Right? We will see that next session. We will see. Right. You see how Shankaracharya is developing. See the thought flow. One by one by one by one is bringing. And also interesting thing in Vivek Chudamani you will see is even the explanation is meant for us to create a kind of feeling that this is not me and I don't want to be this. Here also when he is explaining about how the 5 gross elements have come from 5 subtle elements, he makes it a point to explain that even the objects are nothing but 5 subtle elements only. So for us to understand that why am I attached to these? It is just gross body contacting the gross objects. The subtle body is contacting the subtle objects. Why? What I have to do with all these things? He wants to create that kind of feeling in us. Therefore, he is explaining it in this way. Right? Beautiful. Let us see the remaining section, the next session. Alright. We will conclude. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.